We love Martin Custom Shop guitars, as you guys know, and we've been doing these Honduran models, and we bought all of the Honduran Rosewood that Martin had a year or so ago, and the guitars are here, and this is just a D-28 with Honduran Rosewood back and sides from the Custom Shop. We hand selected all this wood at the factory. We're really proud of how these turned out because you get a massive tone, really classic. You feel that pre-warness in them. Check out empiremusic.com for our entire selection of Martin Custom Shop guitars. Martin guitars, you know we do a pro setup on every single guitar before we send it out the door. What does that mean? I would say, hey, listen, yeah, we get it in spec. We make it on the low end of playing it for sure. But how would Martin hand this to a touring artist ready to play a show? That's how we're sending it to you. We're glad to take your trades. Hit the trade-in portal at empiremusic.com. You can chat with us on the site too. And we carry a huge selection of Martin guitars, so we're going to help you find a great guitar. We really, really love Martin guitars. This is the Martin Custom Shop D-28 with Honduran Rosewood, which is an Empire Music spec. Let's do it. Man, you know, being a Martin Custom Shop expert dealer has its benefits. It's one of the few clubs we're in that's awesome. And there's about 20 worldwide custom shop expert dealers. What's this mean? First, we have access, a lot of access to the Martin Custom Shop wood collection, wood vault. I've been inside the hallowed halls many times, 5 times in the first half of 2025. They're probably pretty sick of me. A lot of times in 2024, we're always out there hand selecting wood, trying to bring great guitars that Martin doesn't do. We don't build really like aesthetic guitars in the sense of building guitars that are just the same thing, just a different color. We leave that to others. We're really about tone wood selection and the internal structure and the process of the build. Martin is absolutely known as having the most incredible wood library in our business, and it's not close. I mean, their distribution center is one of the most incredible spaces I've ever been in my life. Seeing the longevity of their wood selection, how long they've been sourcing wood, and you know the special woods. We have Brazilian in our collection that's from the 60s. You know, we have all these woods that are really old that Martin bought way back then, has been storing, waiting for the right time to use them, the right build and all those things. And then occasionally something pops up like this Honduran, where there was about a total of 50 sets of Honduran rosewood, and we got in the car, made the trek across the state, and hand selected all this wood and found the right body shapes and materials for them. Honduran rosewood is consistently linked to like the next closest thing to Brazilian. You see it a lot in guitars like instruments like marimbas. Super transparent, tons of note separation, a stiffer rosewood like Brazilian, right? East Indian rosewood is softer, and what happens is when you strum through an East Indian rosewood guitar, it sounds really full and fat, which is great, but down here, those notes kind of can get lost. Which, here's the deal. Tone is subjective. Tone is subjective. Tone is subjective. There's not a right or wrong here. I'm telling you, for players that are looking for that tone elevated and a classic inspired sound, what made those great pre-war guitars so great is that the note separation was so massive. Tons of overtones, a more stiff, dense rosewood, and that's where Honduran falls, right? So when you hear these notes in the bass of a Honduran rosewood guitar, I would say like it's still very powerful and bassy, but it's a little bit more narrow in the sense of it stays in its lane. It doesn't eat up the note next to it, which is really, really important. We just love it because it's, first of all, it's visually, it's just so incredible. It's lighter hued. It's just so, I mean, this is just gorgeous wood. And they, you know, Martin, what they're doing is a wood like this goes to the custom shop. They hand sort it themselves. Then they hand sort it for body shape, what they think the best body shape for it be. Then we go through and select them, and we're flexing and tapping them and making sure they're lively. We're not getting a wood that is a... If you've ever picked up a piece of a wood set at a factory, if you've ever been on a factory tour, you've ever been in NAM, and they had any builder had wood sets available for. If you touch one and it's got a lot of resonance, a lot of basic, a lot of character, you're like, ooh, that's exciting. Where you touch one, it goes and it just dies. Those, that one isn't maybe for you. It's the same thing with a solid body electric guitar. Not to take a tangent. You ever picked up a Les Paul on the wall or a Telecaster on the wall and you strummed it and it just didn't do anything? Just the notes died the second your pick left the string. Versus you strum one, you go, oh man, this one's just got tons of momentum and it's just the wood is naturally resonant. That's what we're shooting for, and that's what makes the custom shop so great. We pair it with the spruce top, we put it with golden era scallop bracing, which is a bracing that has more tuck points throughout the inside in the sense of the bridge plate and the kerfing and all these places that bracing is typically comes short. We're tucking them in, which is really, really important, and that's making the skeleton of the guitar tight. When you do that, if you think about that, the energy transfers and there's more places that it touches and the sound just doesn't go to die and the vibration doesn't go to die. It keeps the guitar moving, moves that top up and down, pushes down and out. The sound comes out. And then you have this amazing response. And that's what makes a guitar like this so special, because obviously a dreadnought guitar like this very harkens back to very classic recordings, bluegrass. I'm not a bluegrass player, obviously. I'm like, kind of like a strummer, just like a hobby guitar player, right? But what you know about an instrument like this is that it's going to sound huge. It's got a massive dynamic range. It's like you strum light, you still get a lot of tone. It's like, this will eat anything. It's just like, it just crushed something. But what makes this guitar special from someone like myself, and what I find interesting about it, is that when we do something delicately, crazy sustain, and you got note separation, you had body, and you had a ton of tone happening with a light touch. The trick for this, right, is when you go bigger like this, you typically lose the nuance. And it's one of those deals where it's just like, obviously, if you drive a school bus, you don't want to parallel park in the city. Like, there's some things that just can't, it can't do because it's size, right? Well, this kind of breaks that mold because it gives us the ability to play smartly and lightly in fingerstyle if we want, while still keeping the dreadnought characteristic, because there's so much momentum being created by the tone of the, the tone woods of the guitar, the structure of the guitar, and then that way we don't have to play hard to get a lot of sound, a lot of tone. It's character. Obviously, this isn't going to overwhelm another guitar. It sounds like a small body guitar in terms of its output right now because I'm playing it lightly. But it still sounds huge in its essence. And then you can obviously open it up. Sound just pours out of this thing. It's incredible. You have a spruce top that's very dynamic, that marries so nicely to this. And with basically the golden era package being the essence, is you're getting a fingerboard that is the authentic thickness. You're getting the profile that is modern. It's what they call a golden era, modern profile. It's, it still feels like the modified low PA taper. That fingerboarding slightly thinner. That little bit of thickness that came off the fingerboard went on the back of the neck, super comfortable. You have a lower heel, so as you play higher up the neck, it's more comfortable. You have the nut that's cut on the angle at the headstock as opposed to like this, which is clunky. So now they've got that right. You got a beautiful diamond on the back of the headstock here, classic tuners. All the things that you'd want. You have an ebony fingerboard and bridge, all those classic things that we count on. But what we do is we take it to the custom shop because they have a different team of builders, so the neck's getting set. by a specialist that only does necks in the custom shop, giving you the best feeling and playing guitar. The wood's being sorted. It's going through its own process that's special to it, taking this guitar to another level. We sell, we've had these guitars for a minute. We have an Adirondack top version, which I already did a video on. Didn't realize I just didn't do the standard spruce version because this standard spruce sounds a little rounder than the Adirondack. The Adirondack top version we have is a little bit more bitey. You know what I mean? So if you want even more note separation, or you're a flat picker and you're shredding, that's going to be really really classic sounding. And if you really want to sound like a record from the 40s and 50s, 60s, you want that Adirondack top, got it. This takes a little bit of the modern warmness that players like out of a standard Sitka spruce top and adds it to the Honduran, which gives you that note separation. It's an incredible guitar. We have an incredible selection of Martin Custom Shop guitars. We're really, really proud of it. We've hand selected every piece of wood for every custom shop guitar that's in this store that says Empire Spec on it. You know what I mean? So unless Martin makes a limited edition guitar that says custom shop on it, we didn't, handpick those because that comes from the factory level. But everything's labeled Empire Spec on our site, and there's a lot of it. We've gone to the factory, we've hand selected every single set of wood for it, and we'll put a lot of effort into that, making sure we're giving you the best experience possible. This is a custom shop D-28 with Honduran Rosewood back and sides. Check out empiremusic.com. Hit us up on the site through chat. Call 412-343-5299. If you haven't subscribed to our channel already, let us know. We do the setups. We take your trades. We get you fixed up on everything Martin Custom Shop. Thanks for watching.